liaising with about today's meeting? Dave over there, and Tony. A bit shy, he's run back to yeah. Looks like you're doing a lot of woodwork and stuff like that for local charities or whoever you do it for, but it's great work that you do and it helps them and it helps you guys too, so that's fantastic. So the reason we came down today is because Ken's asked us to come and give you a bit of a talk on just general fire safety. I don't know whether it's in the home or here or both. We can cover all three if you want. And another question that Ken had was what happens when you guys, members of the public, make a 000 phone call? What's the process that takes place after that? What was the other talking point, please? Sorry.
There was your fire equipment, like you've got whatever you've got here, your fire reels. I think there's a few extinguishers floating around. So if you've got any questions on how to use them or whatever, so it's up to you guys, whatever you want to know about.
We can go wherever you want with this talk. So you're all like pretty smart people. So fire safety is common sense 9 times out of 10. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's a bit more detailed than that. But I've got some information. I only printed out 10 of these, but I can easily print out another 50 more for you if you want to have them on hand. Because that's just the right the right fire extinguisher for the right fire.
Okay.
Because there's classes of fire as you all know, like from oils, fats, gases, electricity, all that kind of stuff. So
you can read it.
yeah, okay, there you go. What we usually do, because men's shed, I imagine that everyone was going to be older. There's some younger faces in the crowd, but we've got a seniors fire safety video, which is actually very funny. Fire Brigade finally did something that was worthwhile doing. They got Henry Zepps from Mother and Son. Does anyone remember him?
Yeah.
He's the star of the not Gary McDonald, the not so nice son. He's the guy in it, and they actually did a really good production of that. So you guys don't have a DVD player, and we can't import ours down here, so we didn't actually bring it this time. But if you're thinking about fire safety from your front door inwards or your kitchen outwards, where do you reckon 80% of fires happen in your home?
Kitchen.
So how do we look after our kitchen, would you think? So it's everything from fire blankets to you guys are making utensils out of timber here. They hadn't arrived yet, but I had Fire Brigade also now produced Keep Looking When Cooking spatulas with all our signage on it. So when they arrive, I'll send them down to you. But that's one of the biggest things, is distractions in the kitchen, whether it be your missus hounding you, which we all know what that's like, or your kids driving you mental, and we'll probably all know what that's like as well, to just getting distracted by like the sports results coming on the TV or something like that, and you're walking away from whatever you're doing. So it's keep looking when cooking. So people don't do that, their fire can end up going up. Who remembers, oh my goodness, the chips?
Yeah.
Same thing. So we just rebirthed that. But it's a really good one. So there's that. That's basically how you say fire safety. Also, is smoke detectors. Anyone here who hasn't got a smoke detector in their house? Smoke alarm in their house? That's good. That's what we wanted. No show of hands, because we've got a few of those too. We'll leave those here. Who's had a fire safety check done at their house by us? Anyone? Because you're all pretty handy here, so you probably all do that kind of stuff yourself, because we used to rely on us coming to elder people's houses to replace their smoke alarm batteries for them. They weren't able to do it themselves, we would always do it for them. Then they ran out of cash, so we used to say, you got to go get your battery, you get your battery, give us a call back and we'll go and do that. Now they've gone back, the government's apparently found a pot of money, then now they're sending us the whole thing, the whole smoke detector. So we can do that. If you know of any people that are going to struggle and they can't do it because you guys are at a men's shed or something like that, just tell them to give us a call. We can do a home fire safety check, and let's go through their whole house with them. It's just like an internet-based web application for your phone. You up with me? You keeping up with me, you guys? Because I don't know much about phones either. And you just press it and it says, okay, you're in the kitchen now, and it gives you a talking point for me to talk to you about, and go, oh, what about this? Did you know that? So it teaches us how to go through your house and do that kind of stuff. So fire safety in here is, like I read a few of your things, like everything we do, we never do anything on our own. The minute you join the fire service, you're not on your own anymore. And sometimes that's awesome, but sometimes it's shit ass because the guy next to you is driving you mental. But we're in the men's shed for run the 50s. Oh, some of us, there's a couple that are over 50. Actually, I'm the only one under 50. Come on, finally.
Next month.
This is Cox Harbour.
Yeah, so, okay, right. It's basically look after your mate, because if you see your mate doing something wrong, I'm sure it happens here. Oi, stupid, you're doing it wrong. Or do you want a hand? Or do you want to? It's just picking up after yourself, cleaning up after yourself stops fires. That's another one. If you're not sure how to use your machine, stop and ask, because you don't. We'll have to come down here and rip someone's arm out of the lathe or whatever you're using. It's all common sense. 97. Do you want to talk about fire safety here?
Oh, yes, but if you don't want to.
Okay, so what are you guys, I can't see, there's electrical stuff here obviously, so we could do what's called a pre-incident plan here, so if you go then, if we've got a call here, men's shed, it'll come up and give us all the info on everything that you held here, from timber to paint, lacquers, thinners, flammable stuff, hydrocarbons, we have a list of it, all of it. So that'll all be here, every single bit of it, you've got all that.
Yeah.
So we actually need to come back and do that properly then. Don't have to do a talk, we've got to do a tour around and write everything down.
Yeah.
So then if we ever get a triple O call, which we'll go into a minute, to this place, it'll spit it out men's shed. It'll have all the information on it for us. So the MSD, everyone know what an MSDS is? Material Safety Data Sheet. So if that's for whatever paint you use to put on the rocking horse or whatever you're making, that's stored in the back right hand corner and blah blah blah. All that stuff's not foreign to us. You're going to have a spray booth, you've got the oxyacetylene here or not? Oxyacetylene, where that's stored. So when you watch television coverage of fires and all of a sudden you hear explosions, they're the acetylene cylinders or whatever cylinder's going off.
Yeah.
We should know about that before we get there, otherwise these guys can be walking around with breathing gear going, that's pretty odd here, I can't work out why, because they can't see anything, and then the thing explodes 10 feet from them, scared of the Jesus out of you. So that's what that does.
You do more than that.
Oh yeah, well, I'm just trying to gloss over it really. So if we come back and do that, if we come and do a pre-incident plan, then all your info is going to be on there. Alright, so that info leading into the triple O stuff, when you guys call triple O for anything, from your home, wherever, phone, wherever, driving down the street, you see something, have a triple O phone call, goes to police, fire. Has anyone ever run triple O or needed to? Yeah? Well, they should ask you the question when they answer, good afternoon, good morning, whatever, police, fire, ambulance. You tell them what you think you need. Then it goes to, if it comes to us, it goes to our Fire Brigade Communication Centre, which is in Sydney, Newcastle, Wollongong. We still got Wollongong?
Yes.
Sydney, Newcastle, Wollongong. 3 communication centres. We operate out of Newcastle. So there's operators in there which are all firefighters by trade, but they've gone into the communication centre. Comes up, what's the actual physical address of this place? What Howard, what number Howard Street?
48 Howard Street. 138.
Come on, we need to get that right. We're talking triple O here. Send us to the wrong joint. 138 Howard Street, Cox Harbour. What is it, Isaac?
You could also follow the signs.
Yeah.
Just drive down.
Just so they know, because they work off GPS now, just off. Well, it is a lovely sign, by the way. Is that you? Did you paint that? So everyone knows exactly where they go. Because Sawtell will come too, won't just be us. Sawtell don't know about your sheds, don't know about the paintings, don't know about anything. They'll get the address. Now we've got little. Do you want to go and grab the MDT for me? We've got what's called a mobile data terminal these days, and a GPS will guide us here without us. You used to have to know where you're going if I were you don't need to know anymore, because it'll tell you where to go, which is great. So what happens is, triple O phone call, 138 Howard Street. I say, right, what's happening? Oh, there's a fire in the paint booth, so you can tell them exactly what it is in the shed. Okay, is everybody out of the building? I'll ask you those kind of. I think they're all out except for John Morris. He's still in there. I think, I'm not sure. So we know when we get here that there's persons reported in the building still.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So if he is in there, he's in there illegally to start. So what will happen is, So that'll guide us here. But the triple O guy will get some information off you. That's this is for fire. They punch it into their computer and it automatically goes to our bells, rings our bells. So if you have, it happens a lot in the country, much more in the country. So that's an aerial shot of whereabouts we are now. I think. Yeah. North Street, Howard Street. There we are on the X. Yeah, pretty close. So that's the kind of stuff that we can do now. Went from phone calls and no mobile phones to moving up the chain, and now we carry these things around. That, once we do a pre-incident plan here, will be stored on that computer so we can look it up and see what the risks are here. So at the moment there's a life risk for you guys, and there's all chemical risk, paint risk, hydrocarbon risk, all those are all 11, and then the precautions that we take to still be able to do something about it. Alright, so what happens, they send the call to us, they send the call to Sawteller's door, we'll all show up. So that's how they coordinate it. We've also got GPS markers in that thing now so they can tell where we are. So 15 years ago we could be up at Woolgoolga surfing and they wouldn't know if we didn't tell them. Now, they'll go, hang on, what's that Tom doing up there? so it's double-edged sword for us. We can't do foreign orders as much as we used to.
surf club.
Correct.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the excuse we would have used 15 years ago, but now that's going to wash because they know it's closed on a Monday or whatever it is. So that's the same. It works exactly the same way as the ambulance. Call the ambulance or someone sick, heart attack, cut, whatever. Same way, exactly the same way for all three services. Different communication centres, but all three services. There's one centre, one triple O, and then it gets branched out to us. That's how we get called. So, what was our talking point that we need?
Smoke alarms, smoke detectors, there doesn't seem to be anything here. Not that they're not actually required because no one lives here.
No one lives here, so it's not required.
With the amount of dust,
Yeah, that's a
if we
problem.
made it here, wouldn't that make it,
If it's set
Can.
smoke
alarm.
detectors go off all the time?
Can sort us,
Yeah.
And it'll be a massive expense to decide this probably, so you're not required to, so I can't make it do it.
Yeah.
We always encourage it, but
I've got a question.
you go your life.
Spontaneous combustion of rags and finishing cloth.
Yes.
Now, I don't think a lot of the fellas know about this.
Yeah.
There's some sort of lacquers, isn't there?
Yeah, linseed oil, lots of things.
Linseed oil. Would you tell the story?
Yeah, well, linseed oil, because it can self-combust when it's in the hot rags and they're all bunched up on each other, they can self-combust, spontaneously ignite. So, happens a lot in dry, sometimes like putting oil in your kid's cricket bat. I don't even know if you do that anymore, but then your missus got angry at you, so you washed it and put it in the dryer, still got linseed oil in it, it can spontaneously combust in a dryer. So that,
Even cooking oil, Matt,
yeah,
on your tea towels.
exactly.
Any of those sort of products will combust.
If you do, yeah, that kind of stuff can happen all the time.
We do use a lot of oil and stuff down here.
Yeah, I would encourage, work out a practice so they don't get left behind or left stored on top of each other.
Throw them out in the yard.
Yeah, well, basically, yeah, exactly.
Can you put them in a sealed container?
Yeah, well, you can put it in water. They can still build up heat in a steel container if you left it out in the sun. Could explode the container. So, especially with the heat at the moment. So, and smoke detectors in the home, everyone's got one, which is great. If you haven't got a 10-year life battery, make sure you swap it over. We always encourage you to do it at Easter, or not Easter, what do you call it? Daylight savings. Change the clock, change the smoke alarm battery.
What's the legalities there? They hardwired with battery backup now, nothing else but?
No, you don't have to have hardwired.
Still just a battery.
You can still have a battery operated one.
Yeah.
Because the minute you call a Sparky into it, you're paying a lot more money, and the government wants like average punters to have it, not just people who've got enough money to be able to have it hardwired. So you can still have that. If we come to do it, we're not allowed to drill holes anymore.
No.
So we're used to tape. Double-sided tape. It's quite good tape, but we're not allowed to drill holes. So they don't trust us. But that's easy enough. That's all. Well, it's legal that you got to have one per sleeping room. They're going to make it one per bedroom. I think that's their next destination with Australian standards is to have one per sleeping area, not sleeping floor. So it'll be outside every bedroom or inside every bedroom.
So in the old days, when it was like within a metre of the bedroom, if you had a hallway and a bedroom on either side, you only needed one.
That's exactly right. It still stands like that now.
But
One
if you
every
had
level.
one per bedroom, you'd have two right next to each other.
That's right.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, yeah.
No, they'll be in the bedroom.
There'll be like, whether they make it inside or outside, I don't know, but there'll be one per bedroom though. If it's outside a hallway, I'd suggest I want you to do it inside, in your bedroom.
Yeah, well, you get a fair bit of build up of smoke before it'll go out. If it's fire started in the bedroom, it'll take a while before it get down to the door level before it'll go out to.
Yeah. That'll be the argument.
Why would the fire start in the bedroom?
Why would it?
They're not getting that hot.
Someone might be smoking, reading men's magazines in the toilet or something like that. On the slide.
Candlelight.
Candle, yeah. Well, we had a fire in Harbour Drive 2 weeks ago and they were on their balcony and knocked the candle over. Candle fell into some towels. Towels created enough heat to break the glass. The fire was inside. So that's 2 weeks ago.
Should be banned candles.
Oh, I can't stand candles either. Those little tea lights, sometimes they won't go out for 6 weeks.
That's right.
Where else do we want to go with this? Has anyone got questions? Yeah, there we go.
The average appliance we have around the place, everything here is supposed to comply because it's owned by the council. We've had very rigorous examinations, and we're right now getting our final construction certificates, the occupancy certificate and all that sort of stuff. So right in the middle of that right now, but we understand that we comply with all the 5 things. But are all 5 things as common nowadays?
When you say are they all common?
Well, they all, because the good old days used to be one for.
Oh, no, well, they're not all common. Todd's got a couple here.
There's a couple you got down the back. Okay, you can see they look a bit different. In fact, they're both red, but one's got a black stripe and one's got a white stripe. The easy way to remember it, that's carbon dioxide, black carbon, white powder. Okay, so that's the one we generally use for most things, like for electrical fires. That would, okay, compared to fires, we might have electrical fire in one of your panels back here. Excuse me, I have to do that.
If an emergency.
Emergency.
I think I called AAA. In Russian,
So that's your carbon dioxide one. That's going to be used for like electrical fires, pretty much most fires except a hot oil fire, which you wouldn't have here anyway. But at home, you probably would. You may be cooking at home. The oil blows up. The best thing for your kitchen, really. Well, if you have an oil fire, this is the guy you're using as a powder one, but not many people really have them at home. I notice you've got one over there. But at home, if you've got a hot oil fire, that's going to make a bloody mess in your whole house. The best thing is your fire blanket, which is, it's going to just smother your fire.
Better to have a mess than no house.
Well, that's right, yeah, exactly. You know?
Same result with a fire blanket, though.
Yeah.
I've got one of them as well.
Yeah, they're probably better anyway, because
I've got both.
the nozzle on the powder one, right? See, it's a real jet. You know,
It's going to splash
it's going to
oil
splash all
out.
over the place and increase the fire. So, if you do have a fire at home being oil, that fire blanket's probably the best thing to do. You know, pull it out, suffocates it, and just leave it. Then give us a call. We'll come around and check, make sure that it's out, and then you just have to replace whatever is burned. As long as you get yourself safe, then that's the most important thing. The simple way of using these is an acronym called PASS, P-A-S-S, which is basically grab the thing off the wall. This one's probably the one you're going to use, as I said, that you get it dusty, don't you? Yeah. So that's
another housekeeping issue with
yes,
yourself.
for sure. So as I said, pass. The simple thing is pull the pin, aim the thing at the fire, squeeze the handle, and just sweep it around. That's it. So that's all you got to do. Pull that pin, aim it, and shoot it. That's all it is. It's simple as.
Start closest to you and then work away.
Yeah, bit closest to you, work away, whatever you can do. Hit it from the far.
They don't have a very big throw, so you might need to get a bit closer. It's just,
Yeah,
You need to concentrate on the base of the fire.
yeah.
And the other thing, if the fire is too big for you, shut the door and leave and call us, you know what I mean? There's no use getting hurt yourselves.
Stay safe.
And if it's something small, and whatever, there's no hassle in calling us, even if it's for the simplest thing, if you don't be embarrassed to call AAA because it's better to be safe than sorry. And if you do have any sort of fire at home, then it's worth calling us.
Did anyone see the footage last week on the news of the building fire in Pitt Street, the city?
Yeah.
With the scaffolding going up? Did you see the two, I know what they were doing there, the two worker dudes, they were using extinguishers on it? That's when you're sort of like, it's going halfway out the side of the building, your extinguisher's not going to do a great deal, so you're better off making yourself safe and waiting for us to get there. Oh well, they say CO2 throws CO2 about from here to that truck, so not very far. It's no good to you.
So that was the shade cloth or just...
The shade cloth went bananas, but they were trying to put it out with an extinguisher. So I don't know whether they were oxy cutting something and it's just dribbled onto it. So that could see a change in practice because that's
with shade cloth.
so you don't see so you don't see what work's going on. But they're gonna have to work something out.
Yeah.
So when you're doing a pre-incident
Plan.
survey
Mhm.
of the shed,
Mhm.
are you going to advise us where you think the type A's and the different extinguishers need to go? And
No, I think you probably got wherever you've got them all in the right places as far as that goes. It's just this is just a ready reckoner for us. It's like a cheat sheet for us. You know that we come to the men's shed. You know, inside the front door is this. 30 metres in on the right is
we'll have half
a
an
ceiling
hour.
fan, whatever.
Yeah.
Just tells us what's here, so we're not walking in blind. That's basically what it is. It's not a tool to make you guys do something. It's a tool to help us.
It's like you say about tagging your lead and that. I mean, you tag your lead today and drop your foot on it tomorrow and then you're back to where you started.
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
Well,
we do keep.
we got to be honest with yourself, then, don't you?
Yeah.
So, well, you need four things for a dust fire or flash fire. There needs to be dust, there needs to be a flammable dust, there needs to be within this flammable range, and then there has to be a spark introduced. So
Well, if you got, yes,
if that perfect storm can happen, yes, it can happen, but it's very rare.
so if you got dust all over your power board and you put a lead into it and turn it on, is that
It can increase the
Oh,
risk.
yeah.
Increase for sure.
Yeah.
try to keep it clean?
Yeah. That's housekeeping. That's general housekeeping stuff. If you can avoid that, I would avoid it because you know you could do it 4 million times and nothing will happen. But do it one more and it will. So once you use it, you might as well do it.
I don't think you need to fire risk.